Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Jess. If you're new here, I normally post content about the books that I read and the horror films that I love. I'm also a huge John Waters fan, so I do a lot of fangirling and talking about him as well. However, I had my 2024 in review book video almost ready. And then something came up that I need to address via my channel. So if you subscribe for the bookish content or the horror film content, I promise you, I will be making bookish content in the new year. I promise. But this is something that needed to be addressed immediately. Not just for my benefit, but because there is something about this group that is not sitting right with me, and it needs to be addressed by all of the people that I am getting ready to name here. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. It's not safe. So 3 times I have tried to come in and start recording this, and first time I just couldn't get the words out. The second time I was doing okay, and then I realized I didn't plug my mic in. If that's any indication of how this subject makes me feel. Anyway, if you have not gone back or don't want to go back and watch the other videos in this playlist, let me recap for you. In January of 2023, I became associated with a man who goes by some of these names on social media. I would always call him Eric. He has done nothing to deserve being called the GOAT of anything. Like, no. On top of, how are you going to call yourself black bloc politics when you have such a flimsy understanding of what communism actually is? Because the ways that me and these other people who've come forward with their stories were treated by this man and his flying monkeys was abhorrent. Absolutely abhorrent and antithetical to real, true communist values. And that's another reason why we're going to address this. Because it's just not in line with the values that most of us claim to hold, that this is an issue for me. So in January 2023, I became associated with Eric. We had mutuals in common, we were friends, we were friendly. I never spoke to him in DMs, really. But then in February, it was end of February, beginning of March, because it was before my birthday, maybe the first week of March. I had a falling out with one of those people. I don't know her current screen name on socials, but this is what she went by when I knew her. Her name is Hannah. And she and I had a falling out because she came to me because, first of all, she was posting videos about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard and dragging me into it, knowing that I had spent the entire previous year being slandered and harassed, violently slandered and harassed by Johnny Depp stans. I have made it perfectly clear I don't want to have anything to do with anything that questions Amber Heard or defends Johnny Depp. You don't have to outright defend Johnny Depp to be putting on the picture that you are questioning Amber and whether or not she was actually a victim. Here's the thing. There's not anything that I need to be told about that case. And I made that abundantly clear to Hannah. I said, I don't need to hear what you think about Amber being a narcissist, because I know, as somebody with a degree in clinical psychology and an autistic special interest in psychology, that cat was going crazy, and that always distracts me, and I can't think. But anyway, as somebody with a degree in clinical psychology who has studied abnormal psychology and who, wanted to have a career helping people like Amber, with complex trauma and possibly personality disorders, here's the thing. If you are somebody who is already mentally ill, right? Amber was already previously diagnosed with complex post-traumatic stress disorder by a doctor, like before she even met or married Johnny Depp. That's from childhood, right? She comes from an abusive home. From childhood, right? She had these experiences with intimate partner violence as a teenager, right? Depp was not the only one who abused her. So you have people with complex trauma who are being abused by a narcissist. They will begin to mirror narcissism in order to survive the abuse. That is how narcissistic personality disorder develops in the first place. People mirror their narcissistic abuser to survive the abuse. And if it happens at a young enough age, that you can develop the personality disorder. That is not what happened to Amber. She was an abuse victim who was mirroring the narcissistic traits of her abuser in order to protect herself from that abuse. Okay, so when I told Hannah, you don't have anything you can tell me, and her response was, well, I thought you could trust me. I thought we knew each other, and you keep saying that I'm this great person. I thought we could trust each other. Here's the thing. You've got to be good. If you are in trauma-informed spaces with other survivors, you have got to get good, fucking really good, with being questioned. With people asking you, hey, can you just maybe reassure me or reaffirm that you're not doing or saying these things because you're actually an asshole? Like, the way, and then here we are, I'm expected to share community with this person. I'm sorry, I think that they officially use they, them pronouns now, but I'm supposed to be in community and friendly with this person just because now they're like, oh, okay, I get it, Eric's actually abusive, because then it turned on them. I'm not here to fuck with the people who enabled Eric and shit on me because I have trouble trusting people because of the things that have happened to me online. Like, that's gonna be the continuing problem with this group of people, is that none of you are okay with being questioned, right? I just had an incident on someone's TikTok where I said, wow, this sounds transphobic. Is it? Because I don't know any of these people. And the people that I do know are not good people otherwise. Like, being a survivor of the same abuser doesn't mean that they are good people. And I'm not gonna assume that everyone who survived the same abuse is on the same page as far as, not misgendering somebody just because we don't like them, right? Hannah is somebody who made excuses for that behavior when Eric did it, when it was directed at me. But then when it's directed at them, then, oh no, it's not okay, right? Like, you see my dilemma here, right? Like, I have to be discerning. You don't get cookies because you're sharing your story or because somebody that I trust also trusts you. That is not how this is supposed to work. Not only is it not how it's gonna work, that's not how it's supposed to work. If you are in trauma-informed spaces, you are doing everything you can to make it safe for the victims of that abuse or trauma to question things, to express distrust and mistrust in the system, or people who look or talk or act like or used to be associated with their abuser. And the damn fact of the matter is, y'all don't got that yet. Y'all don't get that yet. And that's why it's never going to work, or that's why it hasn't worked until now, to bring this man down. Because until now, there hasn't been anybody saying, get it together, stop being a dick, so we can fucking have the common goal of bringing this man down without getting distracted by all this other shit that these people keep doing. Back in September, I became aware of this whole new aspect to this situation in the first place because somebody, I don't know their real name, but we'll call them Mrs. Despair, posted a video. Oh, you guys are shocked that Eric is gonna play Hogwarts Legacy for the clout it gets him on Twitch, regardless of what you say about it. You are shocked about that. You want me to then come to this group and work with these people in order to bring down. The whole reason he needs to be brought down is because of these assholes who enabled him. And don't think that they owe people an apology directly. We've all heard the phrase, your apology needs to be as loud as the abuse was in the first place. These people publicly dragged me. They publicly attacked me. They let Eric misgender me aggressively. But I'm supposed to be, okay, because they finally got it once he directed it at them. No. That's another thing that y'all need to get good with, is apologizing. Like, I get it. It's easier as a victim. It's not easy to say, hey, yeah, I maybe helped this person abuse someone else. And maybe if I had believed that person, this wouldn't have happened to me. Because it doesn't feel good to have to say that, but guess the fuck what? It doesn't feel good to have spent the last 2 goddamn years of my life running, scared, because of this asshole. And now I don't have a job. And I'm likely to not be able to find a job doing anything other than content creation due to certain apps not letting you private accounts. And then how am I supposed to, do the content thing and, circulate mutual aid requests if I'm private, if I have to be private? And the whole fucking reason why I have a shitty digital footprint is because of the bullshit that these people pulled me into. When you look for my information online, you don't find any of my original content that I deserve to be known for. You find all of this bullshit drama. Of course nobody wants to work with me when that's what they find. And I have to deal with not getting apologies from people who it is undeniable that these people owe me an apology. 100%. Because I stopped being friends with Hannah before I stopped being friends with Eric. Yeah, that happened before I stopped being friends with Eric. What stopped me from continuing my relationship with Eric was him trying to tell me how to run my page. I have been doing autism advocacy in online spaces since Facebook. Okay? I started autism advocacy before I even knew that I was autistic. Like, there's nothing that anybody can tell me about how to handle autism advocacy, especially not when the advocacy work I was doing was directly related to how we bring autistic families into communist communities. How do we de-radicalize autistic families who fall down the alt-right pipeline because of the behaviors of high-functioning white autistic people like me online. Again, I don't need to be told that I shouldn't be doing that on my own goddamn platform. I was doing that before Eric, and he had no business trying to tell me how to run my platform. And when I told him that, he said, well, if you don't want to listen to me, then you're not good for the movement. Essentially saying you need to leave my group. So I don't understand why he was so butthurt when I did just that. I said, okay, all right, you're gonna try to boss me around. I do not see this group as a cult, so I'm gonna we're done. And he couldn't just let it be done. On top of continuing to harass me all the way up until I have seen stuff about me from these people, all the way up until as recently as like June of last year. But the fact that is another reason why we are addressing this situation right now, because I am about to have to blow up my entire community on Fable and find us another place to talk about revolutionary reading because of what happened over there. But to get back to the point here, the fact that there are people who enabled him that think that their offense over somebody with trauma, not trusting them immediately, especially when they act cagey and untrustworthy, like the fact that those people are spearheading now this campaign to bring this man down without addressing me while I am unemployed, starving, right? My unemployment claim was denied, right? In the state of Colorado, they are not required to pay out unemployment insurance benefits if you were fired for gross misconduct. And the violence in the workplace that I was fired for is something that they never had evidence for, and actively worked to undermine me when I went to see the evidence that they claimed they had. I had to threaten to get a lawyer in order for them to even converse with me about the evidence at all. And even at that, the lawyer I consulted with said, hey, you gotta have a police report to view that footage, or there has to be a case against them. So that's where I'm at. I'm addressing this because I'm sick of hiding and not being able to circulate the mutual aid requests I need because people were shitty and I can't trust that they've learned their fucking lesson. This interaction that I had with somebody recently on TikTok, I asked, are you being transphobic? No. If you can't have people asking you these questions, knowing why they don't trust you, you're never going to be a space for me. That's never going to be a space that I want to be in. And I'm in this position too. I have to apologize for and acknowledge the harm that I caused to all the people when I was enabling Eric, when I was involved with Eric, because people like Little Red Fighting Hood, Red's been on Eric since before I was associated with him. She has been somebody that stayed calling out Eric. And when I was friends with these people, she was also somebody that I helped them attack, right? I owe Kayla an apology. Marxist cretin, right? Call me mommy. Before I had the falling out, and she and I are okay at this point. I'm sorry. They also use they, them pronouns. It's not hard. Look at that. They also use they, them pronouns. Like, I feel like with regards to misgendering and transphobia, these people they get it in their heads that they can't make a misstep. If you make a misstep, correct yourself and try hard not to make that misstep again. I don't know why that's so hard. I don't know why it was this issue of transphobia specifically that is so hard for these people to just, like, I get it, right? I am femme presenting. I'm trans mask, but I am femme presenting. So when somebody accidentally misgenders me, it's not and I don't currently have pronouns on my profile. So, like, when it happens to me, I'm like, okay, if it was an accident the first time, that's fine. I don't know why people, and this is other trans people too, other non-binary people, right? Like Eric's little flying monkey Flex, they are non-binary. And they are the ones who were the worst about misgendering people just because Eric didn't like them. Why would I be able to trust anybody not to misgender people just because of where they're positioned on the side of this story of abuse? Why? Y'all are goofy as fuck for expecting me to trust you just because we have the same abuser. Because Hannah and I had the same abuser. Flex is transphobic as well, and they are also non-binary. Why would I trust? Automatically, 90% of you don't even know who the fuck I am because Eric was that good at cutting me off from any support. Eric is a huge part of the reason why my last relationship didn't work out. Because I hadn't realized at the time how traumatized I was and how hard it was for me to trust people that I meet online after what he did to me. And then I gotta deal with this, like, I can't even ask questions of people I don't fucking know. I'm not gonna be involved in that. So that's why I'm making this, that's why I made this video. So that you can have my story in one place, you know how to access the playlist where all the rest of this is talked about. And then I don't want to be involved in this anymore. I don't want to be involved with a group of people who's gonna center their weird need to be trusted at all times by everyone over what survivors need. Survivors need to be able to voice their distrust without being gaslit about it. And I feel like all I've been getting from all but 2 people is just fucking gaslighting about why I don't trust anybody about this yet. You expect me to trust you because we have the same abuser, and then you pull shit like that. And that's another reason why I'm not going to be posting my year in review for 2024 books. Because I feel like you don't deserve my bookish content. If you're not willing to consume the content where I'm calling out people who've done real fucking harm to me. I can't get a job now because these people have associated my face and name with their bullshit. That's unacceptable. For people to still be treating me like I am an outsider. I am not the outsider. The people like Hannah and Mrs. Despair who still owe me an apology directly, those are the people, not me. But nobody, I mean, see, now I'm so upset I can't even speak properly. But that's my biggest thing is people want content creators to jump to making content that makes you happy. This channel, if you subscribe to this channel and you find content that you think is for you, that's awesome. That's the point of the channel, is for you to find the content that you relate to so that you subscribe. If you don't relate to the content, don't subscribe. Like, it's pretty freaking easy. But by the same token, even if you don't like these vlog videos, even if you would rather see my bookish content is not as important as putting an end to movement narcissism and the systemic abuse of feminist men. And I don't know why anybody's even arguing with me about that, considering what just happened with Justin Baldoni. Okay? Men don't get to claim to be feminist. And if you are following men to get all of your information about communism, you're also a part of the problem. And I'm really gonna take a hardline stance against this while I am unemployed. That is the reason I can't find a job. Okay? I don't think I'll be able to link to it, but if you follow Evan, the bioethicist, on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, they just recently posted a video addressing the ephemeral versus the eternal, and how we got to think about how our content can be stitched or duetted or all of that out of context. I didn't ask for any of my content to be taken. So much of what Eric has of my face associated with his name is not even fucking related content. It's all just him pulling screen grabs of what he fucking can and then making up shit about me from there. Like, literally, the last interaction I remember having with him, it was a video where I was addressing the horror community and some things that I experienced with some authors in the horror community. And that's another thing, is I have very explicitly made it very fucking clear on all my platforms. It is a block, automatically, if you use my face, likeness, or content in your content without telling me or tagging me. Automatic block. That's not fucking okay when you are dealing with people who are victims of online abuse and harassment. That is taking it out of where they are safe, where they know they are safe, and expecting them to just trust that you're gonna keep it safe. Hannah did that with the Johnny Depp shit, and then got mad at me when I said, I'm sorry, I can't stay friends with somebody who would do that to me and then not apologize. And that's on top of Hannah engaging in the misgendering of me. The whole reason that Hannah thought that we would be buddy-buddy in the first place, or that I would trust her explicitly, that I would trust them explicitly, like, I keep getting my attention pulled away by this issue happening on Fable. But anyway, this is because I am finding myself getting verklempt. That is the crux of my position on this. And anybody who wants to know how I feel about Eric, or who wants or needs proof that he is an abusive piece of shit, or of any of these other claims that I have made about Hannah, Mrs. Despair, any of Flex, any of these people, I've talked about it before. I don't have access to the physical receipts because people like Flex and Mrs. Despair worked so hard to get accounts shut down by reporting people who said anything bad about Eric. And that's exactly what happened to me. So watch all the videos in my playlist, watch this video, but I'm done. Unless people want to come forward with sincere apologies and a promise to do better when it comes to the expectations around trust, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going to be re-traumatized because y'all have issues when people don't automatically trust you. Okay, that is something that you need to bring up with your therapist, because having a reaction of hurt feelings when somebody doesn't trust you automatically is a red tarp. It's not just a red flag, right? It's a red fucking blanket at that point, right? Expecting people to trust you just because of XYZ, red flag. Red flag. You have to earn trust to work with trauma survivors. And this group, aside from, like I said, those 2 people, has not done that. So when you want to come forward with those genuine promises to do better, and those apologies to me directly, explicitly for the harm you caused, not just, oh, I'm sorry in general, but addressing the specific harm you caused, I will not be participating in this group going forward. And that's a goddamn shame, because, like I said, I'm unemployed and I'm now having to leave the only platform where I had any sort of following. So y'all can also do me that favor, right? I have a Ko-fi. I write blogs there. That's where the majority of my book reviews are, because I don't have a lot of time to make long-form YouTube videos, and I don't make short-form content anymore now that I'm not posting content on TikTok. So, like I said, you can use me as a source if other people don't believe you, but as far as finding community, that's not, you know what you need to do. And until you do, I'm done. Now, that being said, I do have time to do a bookish video before my family comes back. So I am gonna scrap the 2024 year in review. That was an hour-long video, and like one person was the only one who was gonna watch it all the way through anyway. So I think what I'm going to do instead is my next video is gonna be about where we're gonna go, and why it seems so hard for diverse readers and Black and Indigenous authors to find platforms where they are not actively being harmed by acts of white supremacy. Because this thing with Fable is so disappointing from a platform that supposedly promotes diverse reading. You know who they promoted for Disability Awareness Month? Rebecca Yarros. Like, there's not Black and Indigenous and other people of color writing disabled characters. And there are several Black and Indigenous and other people of color who have called Rebecca Yarros out for problematic disability representation. And that's on top of Iron Flame being given a massive promotional giveaway when it came out. And then me specifically, I don't know about other people, but me specifically trying to bring to Ellen Savage's attention. At the time, I did not know Jason. Ellen was the only admin that I had any contact with, and she removed her ability to be tagged. I don't even know if any of us can do that. But if you look on the app, all of a sudden, Ellen's not taggable. And I'm pretty sure that Jason is going to end up making his account untaggable too at some point. Because of the discourse that is now happening under his post about the issue. So I think that that's going to be an important thing to talk about in my next video, is why this Fable thing is a problem for so many of us and what we're going to do next. So if you haven't already, if you want to stick around for more bookish content or horror film content, like and subscribe, like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell because I don't have an upload schedule. And now that I'm private on all of my socials, I don't have a way to let people really know when I've posted a video other than just if you get notified of it. So that being said, check out my Ko-fi, subscribe there, follow me there. Please consider a paid tier, please. Because the fact that I am unemployed right now and can't find a job is not my fucking fault in any capacity. The reason I got fired was not my fault, and the reason why social media is getting in the way, also not my fault. So please, 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 please consider signing up at a paid tier. I do have weekly blog content. I took off last week because of, or I'd taken off the last couple of weeks because of the holidays, but I do have weekly content usually. So please, please, even if you don't like my content but just want to support me as a trans, disabled, Jewish person in Trump's America, please consider a paid tier. And I will see you in the next